Kia Australia has a policy that says that they won't launch a new car onto our market until they've brought a prototype out, put it on some Australian back roads particularly, and tuned the suspension to our conditions. Now, it's not a major overhaul, it's more a tweaking of the suspension, but I think it's a nice reflection that they are trying to make a car that is good for the particular market. Here we are on the launch of their new Sportage medium-sized SUV. It is their fourth generation and it's halfway through the life of that generation, so it's a bit of a facelift more than a major change. But it has produced, I think, a very good car on those outer rural roads, what we might call sub-arterials or minor arterial roads, which in Australia can be quite rough. This one performs particularly well on that. It's smooth and it's quiet. But there is also another issue. Should we be tuning other aspects of the car to local conditions? Now, across the board on this new Sportage, they do have lane assist. So if you wander a little, the car will pick up the lane marking and give you a little bit of what they call haptic response, a feel response. It tugs the wheel a little bit back into line. Now that's all good. I think this one's quite aggressive, perhaps a little more aggressive than I'd like. It doesn't take control, but it certainly does give you a clear indication. But the next stage is, how does it cope in those conditions where things aren't perfect, which can quite often happen, as I say, on the back roads in Australia. The line marking may not be quite as clear as it should be. And I found in the Sportage that it did tug and pull you and suggest things that I wasn't really expecting, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't comfortable as it might be. I spoke to Kia and I think they quite readily say, well, turn the thing off in those conditions and that's fine. But it does raise the point that are we adjusting or are we considering those other factors that are now becoming prominent in a car for local conditions? I'm giving a paper at a traffic engineering conference soon where we're talking about autonomous cars, or in this case moving towards autonomy where the car does some things for you, where the conditions of the road are absolutely critical. We can't just assume that a car is, or an autonomous car, becomes all-seeing and all-knowing. We have to consider what it's seeing and how it's seeing it and how well that works. So we'll review the car, which I think has some very positive features, but it's a nice reflection to think about that other aspect of how we are adapting new technology to local conditions. The fourth generation Kia Sportage was launched on the Australian market in early 2016, so this facelift upgrade, coming about 2.5 years into its cycle life, is about right for these cars these days. On the outside there is a slight change to the grille. In the superseded model, the grille turned up a little at each end, which gave it a somewhat supercilious smile. A hint, perhaps, towards the enigmatic grin of the Mona Lisa. The new grille is a little more angular and muscular. I think it's a stronger look. The changes at the back are mainly cosmetic. There are 5 colours in any of the models, which are dominated by the usual rather sombre hues of white, grey and a lightish blue, but they do have what they call a fiery red. The upmarket GT line comes with 2 further premium paint options, which is not more striking colours but better quality paint. One of the most notable features of the new car is the array of new mag wheels. The old wheels were variations on spokes radiating from the centre hub, whereas the new wheels are much more eclectic and have elements of a crochet pattern and a spirograph drawing. There are 3 engine options, 2 petrol and 1 diesel. The 2-litre petrol option has an acceptable 114 kilowatts of power and a modest 192 newton metres of torque. The 2.4 litre petrol engine has 135 kilowatts and 237 newton metres. Both petrol engines sound like they are working hard when you have to accelerate firmly. They come with the in-house Kia 6-speed automatic gearbox, which has been around for a while, but still holds its head up high. It works well in this car. Now, the diesel has 1 kilowatt more power than the bigger petrol engine, which is good for a diesel, but it has a very impressive 400 newton metres of pulling power. It also comes with the newer 8-speed automatic gearbox. It's not the quietest of motors, but it is certainly the pick of the litter in the Sportage. There are 4 equipment levels of features and interiors: the SI, the SI Premium, the SLI and the GT line, and prices vary from $30,000 to $47,700. 2 models have drive-away prices, but Kia says there is room to negotiate with the others so that the recommended retail price is close to the full amount you should pay. The interiors look functional and neat, more than adventurous and elegant. The base model has a plain surround encasing the control buttons, but the GT line has a more polished surround that makes it more classy. The GT line also has a steering wheel that is flattened at the bottom, and when I first saw it, it gave the feeling of a sports car rather than the traditional family vehicle. The lowest grades have cloth seats, with the 2 upper grades having leather. The GT line has a 2-tone leather option that looks pretty schmick, but the light-coloured leather would show the dirt. Across the range there are some good features. New in this Sportage range, even in the base SI, are some safety and comfort features such as automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning system, lane keep assist, high beam assist, and dual climate control. For an extra $2,300 you get the SI Premium, and some of the extra goodies include sat-nav, LED daytime running lights, 8-inch touchscreen information system, DAB radio, and a JBL 8-speaker premium sound system. A further $4,500 will get you the SLI, which has a number of convenient features, including active all-wheel drive, it's part-time with lock mode, tyre pressure monitoring, smart key entry, leather seats, electronic adjustable driver's seats, and a 4.2-inch colour supervision cluster for information displayed to the driver between the 2 main dials. And while the GT line is a further hefty $8,000, you do get some very good safety and comfort features, including blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert, powered front passenger seat, intelligent parking assist, wireless phone charging, heated and ventilated front seats, hands-free power tailgate, paddle shifters, and if you go petrol, you get the bigger 2.4 litre engine. The diesel engine with the 8-speed automatic gearbox and active all-wheel drive is available in all models. It's $5,400 more in 2-litre petrol models, or $2,900 more in the GT line as an alternative to the larger 2.4 litre petrol engine. So, how does it drive? We took it for over a 300 kilometre loop through the rural areas around Australia's capital, Canberra. Now, talking about performance, we talked in the introduction about being on poorer quality sub-arterial or back area sorts of roads in Australia. This was really remarkably good, and an indication of it. We're driving along a road there and it feels like you're doing about 80k. The speedo says, and records quite rightly, 100k. That says that you're comfortable. You're in a car that's not making a lot of noise, it's handling the situation, you're not feeling as though you're being tossed around or it's struggling with the roughness of the road, and so you don't feel like you're necessarily going as fast as you might if you were getting those poorer responses from the car. So Overall, their tuning for the Australian road conditions might not be a huge amount, but it has proved to be very effective. When you have a good, competent car on Australian rural roads, it's easy to enjoy our history, which I found when I went through the town of Gunning, which used to be on the main highway and has some lovely old buildings, and to the quaint little township of Collector, with its pub that was built in 1854 and saw in 1865 the tragedy of a policeman being shot in front of his son by bushrangers Ben Hall, John Gilbert and John Dunn. More recently, in 1993, sculptor Tony Fantastes started constructing a large-scale work opposite the pub. It is 24 metres long and 7 metres high and is known as Dreamer's Gate, or alternatively, Homage to My Father, or Homage to a Dead Bushranger. I don't know much about sculpture, but I know what I don't like. The much more aesthetically pleasing Kia Sportage is now on sale in Australia.